Erotic Awakening is presented by Nothosaur.
Nothosaur is a specialized toy manufacturer that produces a variety of sexual pleasure items based on magical myths and cartoon styles to satisfy people's different sexual preferences and needs.
Each of their toys is handcrafted. Nothosaur takes pride in design and produces premium quality products.
They also offer multiple choices of color and firmness in order to produce unique fantasy toys for you.
If you are looking for a truly unique fantasy and myth-based
Dildo,
penis sheath,
butt plug,
cock ring,
masturbators,
grinder,
and more,
you'll find it at Nothosaur.com. This week on Erotic Awakening, Top Dom Master and Talking Dirty.
welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
We want to thank our latest patron supporters,
Teresa,
and Cecilia.
welcome aboard. Head over to patreon.com/erotic awakening today and get your bonus content and support the show.
Hi, Dawn.
Hey, Dan.
Today on the podcast, so last week on the podcast, we talked about bottom, sub, slave,
We did.
and the path from one to the other. And we determined that it doesn't have to be a path from one to the other. It's not like a one steps up to the next one, to the next one. You
Yeah,
could be,
it's not an escalator.
right. And you could even be a sub or a slave and not be a bottom.
Exactly. Or
But-
a bottom and not a sub or slave.
Exactly so. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about the other side of the spectrum, top to dom to master.
And
Yes.
And we were saying last time that it's totally different, that it has a totally different feeling to it than bottom, sub, slave. So I was kind of curious what you meant by that.
Well, let's figure that out.
Okay.
So to start with some definitions, the idea that for us, when we talk about a top, we are talking about somebody who engages in the BDSM activity and they are leading that activity. It is the person holding the flogger or the person doing the tying up.
Right. So I am a slave. I am a bellet, but slave on that end of the spectrum. And I could top during a scene,
Sure.
but that doesn't make me a dominant or a master.
Correct.
Just like you, as a master or a bellum, have bottomed for a scene or two to experiment and see if you like it.
Mhm.
That does not make you a submissive or a
Follower of any sort.
follower of any sort.
Correct.
I got stuck there because I'm like, but you were subbing. But we talked about that last week.
Yes.
The difference between being submissive versus being asubmissive.
Just like a dom sometimes is referred to as kind of a word that means somebody who is topping a scene. They are dominating in the scene. They are being the dominant in a scene versus a dominant, which is also this lifestyle selection of I am a 24/7 dominant and this is my role in a relationship.
Right.
And then we get into master, which is also not too far different from the idea of a dominant as a 24/7 lifestyle or 24/7 relationship choice. And then alternative words for master include leader and all kinds of other things. But we're going to just use the term master. It's commonly referred to.
Right.
So to your answer, to your question, I have this answer.
Okay.
Obviously the top, for in our definitions, physical activity.
Right.
A dominant is either you're the dominant in the scene, but generally dominance is, 50 Shades of Grey. They use dom as the leader in that relationship style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different, I think, from that definition of submissive and slave, where we feel like that's a significant difference. Where I think that a dominant versus a master outside of leather community, and we'll talk about leather in a moment, is really it's just an indicator of I am leading a 24/7 relationship. Depending on who you are, you might just not like the word master and you prefer the word dominant. I was there for a little while myself.
Mm-hmm.
In Leatherland, master has a little more value to it, in that in Leatherland, master is normally a title that you have earned, and not necessarily just via a title contest or because you've had a mentor. Say you're allowed to use that term now, but it does imply more than just I'm leading a lifestyle relationship. I'm also holding myself to a certain set of standards.
Mm, I like that. I'm kind of floating around some pictures in my head right now of like, we know a couple of people in Columbus that were just covered.
Mm-hmm.
So they are now covered masters,
Mm-hmm.
right? And covered means that your community or a person or a mentor presents you with your leather cap, right? So you're a capped master, a
Mm-hmm.
covered master.
Yep.
But they were masters before they were covered, even though they're in leather, right?
Right.
So, I mean, one ran for a title, one did not. And like you said, that doesn't really matter. That is not what defines a master. So, I feel like I have a question here and I'm not exactly sure what to ask.
Well, while you chew on that,
Mm-hmm.
we'll reiterate what we said for bottom sub slave, that you can be a top and a competent top and a wonderful top. And that's the end of the story for you. You like leading the scene. It
Mm-hmm.
does not need to lead into any sort of a power exchange lifestyle setting. Again, the dominant, the master, depending on how you're using the terms, generally reflects I am in a power exchange relationship, whether it's a 24/7 power exchange relationship or not, when you are in so and so scenario. I know at least a few people that identify as masters that have never actually met their slaves. They're 100% online. Okay, cool. But again, you don't have to. If you can stop at any point. If being a dominant in a relationship is where you want to be, and you have no desire to be called master, well, you don't have to be called master. You can stop right
Right,
there.
right. It's not an escalator. So
Right.
you don't have to ride that escalator to the top because there is no top.
Right.
These are three different roles and they don't have to, one's not better than the other.
Exactly so.
So I have a question for you. We know some bottoms that are bottoms. They bottom in scenes. They don't want to be in a power exchange relationship. They don't want power exchange in their scenes. They're bottoms. They like the skill. They like to be spanked, flogged, needle bottoms, whatever.
Sounds great.
Do you know of any tops that are, and I'm just going to use this language, that are just tops? That just do the skill. I feel like I should be able to pull some up in my head that just do the skill, but aren't really into the power exchange.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's got to be.
There's plenty of them that that we know. A
Okay.
lot of them are rope tops.
Oh, that is true.
Yep.
That is true. You've got rope tops and rope bunnies bottoms, which are all that is their own little area,
Mm-hmm.
right? That so and I forget to think of rope tops. No particular reason why, just because I don't do rope. Okay, so there would be needle tops. I do know some
Yeah,
needle
absolutely.
tops.
Needle tops.
Whip tops.
Yep.
Never mind. Never mind. I know more than I think I know
Mm-hmm.
because I can pull up a few bottoms in my head that are just easy, right? I always think of them when I think of bottoms that don't enjoy power exchange. Tops, I was having a little problem until you said rope and then it kind of opened the
Yeah.
door.
And
So that's kind of neat.
part of that is because we generally run around with power exchange people, right?
Right.
That's so we naturally think of, oh, so and so person is not only a rope person, but he's also leads a relationship.
Mm-hmm. So very true. We should be seeing a few people like that this weekend.
Absolutely. You mean when we're at Explorations into Kink in St. Louis?
Indeed, we leave for that tomorrow. So we will be in St. Louis this weekend, and we have more upcoming events, yes?
If you don't catch us there, you can catch us online on Kink School later in November,
Or Naughty Revival in Minnesota in December.
or Apex in Phoenix in December.
Cure in Columbus in January.
Woo! Intrigue in Indiana in February.
Or June will be in Tulsa.
Keep up with all the events, book news, discounts, more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And get your EA shout out, like Jennifer in Minnesota.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
Indeed. And I want to throw that reminder out there to people that are watching this on time and not weeks behind
Mm-hmm.
that Nothosaur is having a Black Friday sale.
They are indeed. Now, we have a variety of feelings about the old Black Friday,
Well,
but
we do, but A
But
sale's a sale.
a sale's a sale. You're damn right.
And we're going to tap into that too with our cards, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, what have you pulled up on Nothosaur now?
This is a Conan. I don't know what the heck to
What
make out of
is that?
that.
But I loved the shape of it. You know what? For those of us that have primal fantasies and werewolf fantasies and things like that, this is absolutely a website to check out. Look at that. It's got the egg
Yeah,
depositor
I was
dildo.
actually, and they have a video for how to make the eggs.
Uh-huh.
I was watching that the other day. So there's a dildo that can deposit these
Like
eggs,
alien eggs
alien eggs,
into your bottom.
into your bottom,
Your
quite
bottom
literally,
or
or
your
other
bottom's
spots.
bottom.
Yeah, and that is,
It's neat.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And of course, we are appreciative of Nothosaur to be a sponsor of the podcast. So we ask our listeners, head over there and check them out. If nothing else, they're pretty fucking cool.
It is because of all the I love, like we said last week, I love all the stories that are with each of the products.
Yep.
So it's like a cartoon story or man, look, you keep scrolling past that. I really like that dildo. That is so awesome.
That's a monster there.
Indeed.
So beyond that, Dawn,
Well,
apparently we are going to not teach talking dirty. And for a long time, that was a class that it seemed like every event we went to, they wanted to hear talking dirty.
I love that class, and that's because I love that fetish.
Yes, you do.
I love to have a really good, filthy, dirty talking to, naughty talk when I'm scening or having sex.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something about talking dirty.
Okay.
I recently was doing some dirty talk with one of my people,
Huh?
and I tried a new thing. And we talked about it later, and she said, I didn't like that new thing. We're not going to use that
Oh.
new thing anymore.
Oh, really?
So that's
Okay.
part of that talking dirty, part of the way that you create that courage in yourself to like open up and have dirty talk conversations is that you have a partner that's willing to give you feedback.
Mm.
It's super important when you're doing dirty talk as the receiver of that, give your partner feedback, the things you love and the things you don't love, right?
Right.
It can be challenging for us to put ourselves out there. To me, I find it very vulnerable to do dirty talk as a giver,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of strange that that's what I find vulnerable. So that feedback to me is pretty essential.
Nice. So, and I like that we teach people how to do dirty talk. If you guys ever get a chance to catch us in person when we're teaching that, actually, we have a recording. We have a video recording
Yep.
of that class. But one of the things that I like about it is that we teach people how to be sitting in their car with the windows up and just saying all those words that can
Mm-hmm.
trip us up sometimes. Now, we're in the kink community, we're in the adult community. And right now on the podcast, I even after this many years, there are times that I trip up because I have a hard time saying cunt or cock or you see, I just did it again.
Yes.
I still stuttered. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to offend somebody. But we teach people how to say those words so that
Yeah.
when they do dirty talk, they don't trip like I just did.
Mm-hmm.
And I like teaching people that because there are times that I am scening or having sex where those words are screaming in my
Mm.
head and I don't know how to get them out of my mouth, right? Even now, there's sometimes that they will scream in my head, and most recently, when that happened, I was like, "Fuck it, I need to say those words," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to say those words, and it went over very well because you like to receive dirty talk
Yes,
sometimes.
absolutely.
As a matter of fact, if I ever go out and experience something and I come home and I share said story with you that involves dirty talk, that kind of does it for you, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And one of the keys to that is knowing what to say. Um,
Yes. So like you said, you've used words with some of your partners that later you found out didn't work.
mhm.
We've always got when we tell this class, when we teach this class, we've always got the story about your ex-wife and how she liked to dirty talk and you were able to use this word and that word and this word and then you dug a little deeper and used that word and
Mhm.
she jumped back like she did not like the B word at all. And the B word, really, I just said the B word. She did not like bitch at all, but she loved all the other ones, which are even dirtier. And so, yeah, that's how you get to learn your partner, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you're, there's plenty of books on Amazon about how to talk
Yes,
dirty
but
if you don't
reach
want to.
out to me.
Hmm.
I have a class for $10 that we taught. So,
Yeah, I was gonna. That's exactly where I was gonna go with that. That the books out there, we looked at a couple of them, and it might have one or two good points, but then it's like 90 pages of filler. So I
yeah.
really like the class that you've been teaching, which really gets down to some really specific, actionable type stuff we can do.
hmm And this class that I'm talking about with Talking Dirty,
Hmm.
we taught it at the space
We did.
and filmed
Yep.
it. So it's
Yep.
me
Sure did.
and you, not just me. So awesome, awesome. We have one tentacle picture,
Nice.
but she's hot. Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
So this is a nun. You've not seen the nun? So on our Discord channel, let me get here so that I can show Dan.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. Isn't that
Wow.
amazing? So that is from Minotaurus. He's sending. So this is a nun. This is a fucking hot, sexy nun. And she is kneeling on a bed and there's tentacles reaching for her and wrapped around her legs and stuff. So now she's looking pretty stoic.
Mm-hmm.
She's not looking but man, that just makes her hotter looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So indeed. Okay, that's a good one. That one is going to be a wanking fodder. Is that how we say that? Wanking fodder?
That's good enough. Be a part of the Erotic Awakening podcast community.
You can support us on Patreon and get early access to the ad-free version of the podcast, a free version of the audiobook Polyamory Toolkit, free ebooks, discounts on monthly Zoom classes, member-only Discord access, and more.
Find all the goodies at patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today.
Help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast.
Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
Join the conversation with us and other listeners.
Use the link from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Discord channel.
Feel free to reach out to us. We love talking to you.
Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
We are Dan and Dawn on FitLife.
And Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just email us at dananddawn@eroticawakening.com.